If you're watching this video, first of all, thanks. How you doing today? I hope you're doing great, having a great day so far. So if you're watching this video, chances are you probably bought yourself an SM7B or you're thinking of buying one. And if you're watching this video, it's probably because you found out that this is a very gain-hungry microphone, and the audio interface that you're using for the SM7B probably isn't supplying enough gain, or most likely what the problem is that you're cranking the gain up so high to give this microphone the gain that it needs that you're getting a lot of noise. And when I say noise, there's a very distinct difference between your environment and the noise from the microphone itself and or the preamps on your audio interface. There is a solution. There's a very easy solution for this. You can buy yourself an inline signal booster. Traditionally, two of the most popular options for this are the Cloudlifter and the Fethead. Fethead's $100, Cloudlifter's $150. But today, I've got a new one for you. It's half the price of a Cloudlifter, and it's cheaper than a Fethead. Now we've got to find out, is it as good as either one of them? Ladies and gentlemen, that is the Tonor TA20 microphone preamp. They did send this to me for free for the purposes of this review. I do not have a Cloudlifter to compare it to anymore. I used to have a Cloudlifter back in the day. I will make a separate video as to why I don't have a Cloudlifter, but for the purposes of this video, we're going to go ahead and talk about the Tonor TA20 microphone preamp and see how it performs compared to my past experiences with the Fethead and the Cloudlifter. And at $75, is it worth the buy? Let's find out. So before we get into the TA20 microphone preamp by Tonor, I do want to discuss a couple of misconceptions that are out there regarding the microphone inline preamps or signal boosters, whatever you want to call them, because these are misconceptions that I fell victim to years ago when I first started dabbling into the world of dynamic and XLR microphones. I thought initially that in buying a signal booster, it would help reduce the amount of noise that my microphone would capture, right? And I was wrong. I was very wrong. Because what happened is I connected my microphone at the time, which was the Rode Procaster and the SM7B a couple years back, to the Fethead and to the Cloudlifter, and I set the gain, the total gain, right? So the gain from the preamp plus the gain on the audio interface, I set that to the total recommended gain for each one of those microphones. And for example, according to Shure's website, the gain level for the SM7B should be at around 60 decibels. I did that and I got a lot of noise. I was getting more noise than I was before I used a preamp. I got very upset. I returned everything and, moved on with my life and got a little bit wiser along the years. And here we are now with an SM7B. And what you're listening to right now is the SM7B without any sort of inline preamp. This is connected directly into my Elgato Wave XLR. Now, remember how I just said that Shure's website recommends you run the SM7B with 60 decibels of gain. What you're listening to right now is actually me using the SM7B at 50 decibels of gain, all right? So what the microphone inline preamp does, instead of minimizing the amount of noise going into the microphone, it adds clean gain in between the microphone and the audio interface that you're using. And I don't know if I can do such a great job of explaining it, but I think what we will do instead is I'm going to show you, okay? So right now, again, this is the SM7B at 50 decibels of gain. I have noise removal on, EQ on, and compression on, all right? So I'm going to go ahead and turn all that off, and I want you to hear what it sounds like with everything running through the microphone without any VSTs on. And right now we're still at 50 decibels of gain, okay? And I'm going to crank it up to 60 dB, which is the amount that Shure recommends we have for the Shure SM7B. All right, so again, this is the Shure SM7B at 60 decibels of gain, no VST plugins, no noise removal, no EQ, no compression, nothing. This is what you'll get when you plug the microphone directly into your audio interface, crank the gain up to 60 dB, voila. Now, let's bring it back down to 50 because usually that's what I play with. I usually play around at the 50 decibel mark. If I were to turn, because I want to show you what this microphone preamp does, okay? If I were to turn my gain all the way down, you should have heard nothing. at all, right? So now we've got the Tonor TA20 microphone inline preamp connected and set up in the microphone audio chain here. I've got my dB on my Wave XLR set to 30 decibels. I got my gain set to 30 decibels, and also the extra 20 decibels of clean gain coming from the TA20 microphone preamp. I do have VSTs turned on. I'm going to show you why in a second, okay? But I do have VSTs turned on. I got noise removal, compressor, EQ on. This is the result of what you get. But now let's go ahead and turn all those VSTs off and let's see what happens. Mind you, our total gain, the gain from the preamp and the gain from our audio interface combined, it's at 50 decibels right now. We're going to go ahead and turn everything off. And now we're going to see what we get. And it's off. Let's listen. Something doesn't sound right, because if you notice earlier in the video when I did the test for the noise of the microphone without the preamp connected with VSTs turned off at 50 decibels of gain, it wasn't perfect by any means, but I wasn't getting all that white noise. And I don't have anything in my room, a fan or anything like that running that will create that kind of noise. So this leads me to believe that it might be some sort of an electrical problem. And just a heads up too, I've already emailed my contact at Tonor about the issue, and I've actually sent them a video just now showing them exactly what I'm experiencing. They are sharing it with their, I guess their research team, their production team, whoever it is. And they're going to get back to me to see maybe did I get a defective one or something like that. But I don't want to crucify them just yet on that. But I want to do a couple more tests just because I really want to highlight what my experience has been so far in using the TA20. All right. So let's try cranking this up to 60 dB and see what it sounds like then with and without VSTs. Now, my total gain in this whole chain is 60 decibels, which is Shure's recommendation on their website for the SM7B, running it at 60 dB. I don't think that's necessary, but we're just going to do it for science, okay? I do have all my plugins turned on. I've got noise suppression on, EQ, and compression turned on. So we're going to go ahead and turn this off, and I'm just going to warn you, be ready, because I have no idea how loud this is going to come through. And our plugins are off, and this is what it sounds like. Now, as far as my voice and the commentary itself, it's obviously going to be a little bit louder, but the white noise also should be louder. You should actually technically hear it now as I'm speaking, but I'm going to be quiet here just for a moment so we can get a better idea of what it sounds like. Okay, so I've gone ahead and brought my gain from my Wave XLR down all the way to 27 decibels. And the reason I brought it down to 27 is because at 27, all right, when I'm not speaking, my microphone meter doesn't activate, doesn't show anything, any bars or anything moving at all. So I'll be quiet, all right, so that you can get an idea of what it sounds like now as far as the noise is concerned when I'm not speaking. I don't know about you, but I can in the playback of the test that I just did, I could still hear the white noise going on, right? So let's go back down and drop it another 10 decibels. I'm probably going to boost this in post just so you can hear better, but I'm down to 17 decibels plus the 20 from the TA20 microphone preamp. That brings me up to a total of 37 decibels of gain in the SM7B audio chain. Do you still hear the white noise? Now, if you recall earlier in the video, I did turn the gain all the way down when I was not using the TA20 microphone preamp just to see how much sound would come through my Elgato Wave XLR. I've gone ahead and done the exact same thing now, but this time we have the TA20 microphone preamp connected, so technically you should be able to hear at least 20 decibels worth of sound coming from the microphone chain. What I don't know, because I actually haven't tested this, is I don't know if you can still hear white noise or not. And now we should be back to normal. I've got the TA20 connected to the microphone chain here. All right, I've got the gain on the Elgato Wave XLR set to 30 decibels, plus the 20 from the TA20 is a total of 50 decibels of gain, which is where I usually like to use the SM7B. Now, here's the thing. I'm gonna probably have to do an update for this video, because if they sent me a defective unit, that's one thing, right? That's happens, no worries. Usually companies have solid customer service and they'll take care of the issue for you, right? Most likely by replacing it or refunding it or what have you. But in the interest of fairness, I do have to be honest and I got to be transparent. When I used the Cloudlifter and the Fethead, I never experienced this at all. And I didn't say this earlier, but I'd assumed that you would know, but maybe you don't, so that's okay. So when you use a microphone preamp like the TA20 that I'm using now, the Cloudlifter, and even the Fethead, you have to supply 48 volts of phantom power, okay? So the phantom power has been turned on this whole time when I'm using the TA20, just in case anybody was wondering. At $75, all right, and I'm not going to talk about the build of the device or anything like that, because once you plug it in, it just sits there, and that's it. You're not really messing with it, okay? It's 75 bucks, okay? And I'm going to be super honest here. Number one, I don't think there's a need for a signal booster anymore these days, okay? Because with the existence of VST plugins, EQ, noise removal, stuff like that, with new, relatively affordable audio interfaces that nowadays come with pretty decent preamps already, all you got to do is find the gain sweet spot for your voice and your microphone. And if you're getting a little bit of excessive noise that the microphone is picking up as a result of the boost in gain that it's getting from the inline preamp, you can slap a VST on that thing and call it a day, and you're going to be fine. So you don't have to go out there and buy a $150 Cloudlifter or a $100 Fethead. And if you have to, if you absolutely have to, and I really can't think of a scenario where you absolutely have to as a YouTuber, as a streamer, as a podcaster, or anything like that, but if you had to use and purchase a microphone preamp at 75 bucks, this might be a viable option, except for the fact that we might have a problem with its ability to not add all that extra noise. Mind you, the noise that you've been hearing so far is not my environment. It's not my fans, it's not my AC, it's not my PC fans or anything like that. It is something to do, I think, and I believe it's got something to do with the electrical components of the TA20 itself, or interference from all of my other electrical equipment here. Until I get that answer for sure from them, right now, I honestly can't recommend this product. And it's not even anything to do specifically with this product. I wouldn't recommend the TA20 because of the noise, but we're going to leave that as to be determined, okay? But I also, nowadays, honestly, I would not recommend a Cloudlifter or a Fethead because it's just not necessary. It is not necessary anymore. Save yourself the money. Don't spend $150 on a Cloudlifter. Don't spend $100 on a Fethead, all right? And instead use that money for something else that you might actually legitimately need for your content or for your setup. And if you're going to buy, because you absolutely, for some reason, have to buy an inline microphone preamp, if they get back to me and they tell me you got a defective product, we're sending you another one and everything works fine, then I'll do a follow-up video, and then I might recommend the TA20. As of right now, I just can't. I just can't because there's no conclusive answer as to whether I got a bad one or I'm doing something wrong here or anything like that. But as of right now, I can't recommend it. I can't. And I want to specify, I can't recommend the TA20 specifically because of the noise it's generating, but I also can't recommend a microphone inline preamp, period, because nowadays with the power of software and some post-processing, you don't have to use one. You just don't. All right. And that's all I got to say on the matter. So appreciate y'all watching. I hope you found this video helpful and informative. If you have any questions or if you have any comments, if I got something wrong, okay, if I got anything wrong, please let me know in the comments below. I'm open to healthy dialogue. Until next time, be good to yourselves, be good to one another. Thank you all so much for 6K. We made it to 6K. I would love to hit 10K by the end of 2023. No, false. Yeah, fuck that. I would love to hit 10K by the end of 2023. How in the world we're going to do that? I don't know. But either way, I appreciate all 6,001 of you for hanging out and enjoying the content. So until then, y'all take care.